So my name is Dr. Gerstenfeld. I co-direct the program with Dr. Ravid, who's the director of the program, and Dr. Francesca Setta. I basically teach the primary first term course in the program, and I'm the main academic advisor for the program. So we basically started the program about 5 years ago. So we now have had about 5 classes go through the program. And basically the program is designed so that you can learn biotechnology in the major core facility applications to biotechnology for research applications within a 1-year program. So it goes from the fall term through the summer terms, and it has a 32 credit, it's 32 credits as all our master's programs are designed to provide you with. And the major thing that is nice about our program is that we don't require a thesis, but a capstone project. And we have 8 credits of practicum, which is practical lab experience within different laboratories. So in the spring term, you would rotate through a couple of the core facilities, and then you would pick out a particular technology that you want to gain greater expertise in and continue within that core facility over the summer term and basically write a capstone paper versus a thesis to allow you to finish the program in about 1 term. So the coursework really is involving the theory of the methodology that you're using, such as flow cytometry and imaging technology or metabolic profiling of animals or proteomic or genomic technologies. And then there is a real emphasis on practical application for the program. The degree requirements, as I said, are 32 credits. The capstone is a requirement, and you basically get both theory of the methodology as well as practical research. And electives can be chosen within any of the graduate medical school sciences programs that are provided to us as electives that could deal with business management, for example, in biotechnology, clinical and translational research types of electives, or pathology electives. So you can gear your sort of experience in our program both within a specific area, for example, in sort of clinical translation or pathology, or the business aspects of biopharma that go along with the practical aspects of the education. It is involved with 4 semesters, the fall and the spring term, and then the 2 summer terms. There's 24 classroom-based credits in the fall and the spring. And I think out of those, we have a sum total of about 12 credits that are required credits in the program. Let's see, 12, yeah, there's actually 20 required credits, including the practicum. And then the rest of the credits are basically electives that you can choose. In the second semester, the spring semester and the 2 summer semesters, the primary focus is on laboratory experience. The objectives of our program, so most research today, whether it's government or commercial labs or academic labs, you have specific laboratory sort of individual experiments that you set up on a bench, but many of these experiments are run with instrumentation, high-end instrumentation that increases throughput of the analysis. And so these particular core technologies are run by very specialized facilities within either a pharmaceutical research endeavor or within an academic environment or within a government environment. And the training in these types of technologies involves a lot hands-on with some very high-tech instrumentation. So the goal of our program is really to give the students a hands-on experience with some of these very expensive instruments and work side to side with people in the core facilities, as well as with PhD students that are using these technologies. The other part of the program is to familiarize yourself with the principles of how these instruments work, and to familiarize yourself with the technical aspects of using the instruments, as well as most of them have software interfaces now, how to look at data output on specific types of spreadsheets that come from the analysis that these facilities will run. And then it's to provide you with the basis to when to use a specific type of technology to address specific types of biologic questions. So for example, when would you use a genomic approach of transcriptomics versus a FACS or a microscopic approach? And sort of, it also teaches you experimental design to mix and match different experimental approaches to carry out the work that you're doing. Let's see, the commonly used core facilities that we make you familiar with are microcomputed tomography, cellular imaging, micro and nano imaging, confocal, flow cytometry, high throughput immunohistochemistry, transgenic facilities, microarray facilities, and analytic instrumentation and mass spec. You can go to our main website and go under research, and you can find the core laboratory facilities that you have access to within Boston University within this program. Usually the facility will give you a little overview of what types of instrumentation they have. The admissions requirements are a GPA of 3.0, and you must have organic chemistry in your background, and ideally some biology and molecular biology courses. We've made the GRE optional. You don't have to submit a GRE anymore. We basically are looking for that GPA, grade point average in the sciences. If you're a non-English speaker, we do look at the TOEFLs because we need to be able to converse with you in English, and all of the teaching as well as the coursework is in English, as well as the tests. And the application deadline is listed as May 25th, but we've been seeing with non-American applications, particularly with visa issues, that we can be looking at filling out our program not until the end of the summer. So we usually keep open the portal for late applicants or until we get all of the paperwork in so the student can matriculate to the first week of August usually. We will fill out the number of applicants when we get to about somewhere between 8 to 10 applicants. That's the number that we can accommodate in our core facilities because of the practical nature of the program. When we get to that point where we've filled out the number of positions that we have available, we close the admissions portal. So if we fill out the number of applicants early in the season, we will close the portal out and put people on hold if some people decide not to come into the program. But we have a limited capacity to admit people into the program, so we basically have that limitation. The other thing I would point out is most of our students will get some type of financial aid in the terms of scholarship, particularly if your GPA is really good. We try to balance merit versus need. Our scholarships relative to the cost of the program range anywhere from $5,000 to about $15,000 to give you an idea of the kinds of scholarships that we give out for people that come into the program. So that pretty much ends my particular presentation here. I can take any questions that you might have. I can answer things about the lab rotations or the difficulty of the courses or the other electives that we have available. So feel free to just ask me questions and I'll stay as long as you want me to answer questions. Did that give everybody a good overview for the outline of the program? Happy to answer questions. Or you can type in the chat box if you are shy to ask a question in person.
Thank you for hosting this webinar.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask a question about whether if there's, I know you mentioned financial aid and scholarships, but I was wondering if there's an opportunity to do a fellowship. And I was also wondering if we can potentially be connected to alumni who have graduated from the program, or just learn about what they've done after they've graduated from
okay. I could probably find, we do keep active track to our alumni. Statistically, our alumni fall into sort of 3 general categories. About a third of our alumni, maybe a little bit more of a third, use the program as a springboard to apply to a PhD program. So I would say that about a third to half of our students use it to get practical lab experience and apply to PhD. You know, and that's, like I said, it depends on the year, a third to a half. Another third of our applicants basically go right from our program to industrial jobs or academic jobs. I would say a lot of I would say of the people that want to go into jobs, that, and I would say maybe it's about a third to half, depending on the year as well. They choose one of 3 kinds of jobs. I would say the preponderance of people go right into like some kind of pharmaceutical industry, because that's what the program is basically geared towards. They tend to be higher paying jobs than academic jobs. Some people will transition to an academic job. I've had a few students here stay on, and they get hired into core facilities here because they've worked there. One fellow had worked in one of our cores and now actually is going into the PhD program here at BU. About another third, so as I said, some of them go into academic labs and some into, and then another part of that, those people apply to do clinical types of research positions within academic hospitals, like doing high-end clinical research studies affiliated with a research team. And then the last smaller group applies to medical school or for physician assistant positions. We don't push that academic route, because if you wanted to do an academic route to medical school, there's other programs that are offered that are better geared for that route for our student population. At Boston University, for example, the Graduate Medical Sciences program. So I tend to discourage people that want to go sort of into a patient-oriented direction, because that's not what the program is meant for. And if you send me an email, I'll try to get some names of prior graduates that you might be able to contact. Usually the year out from is the closest to. We can usually track those people down, and they'd be willing to talk to you. If I get a couple years back, it's harder to trace people back that far. Did that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you. And I think the second question is about like if there's a possibility of getting a fellowship.
Okay, our program because we're a technology program, most of the fellowships, meaning a, a, a fellowship meaning a teaching fellowship, or a fellowship meaning a position in a lab after that you would have more training in?
Either or.
Okay, so we cannot offer teaching positions because the teaching positions are mainly given out to either our PhD candidates or to, there's a lot of teaching positions within the larger clinically oriented programs where they use the second year students as tutors or lab TAs for the first year. Because we're a one-year program, we don't have teaching fellowship slots. In terms of the practicums, in terms of being in a lab, everybody is in a lab come the second term. Now, going into next year, we have been able to keep our students in the lab even with COVID. So we will continue to try to place people in the spring and summer term, and particularly where you're matriculating next year, my expectation is that the COVID will be in the rear mirror by the time people are matriculating into the spring of 22. So at least the kids in the program this year, we are putting in labs in spring. So we do make an attempt to have every student in labs for both spring and summer terms. But they're not fellowships, they're like part of the program.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Is there any other questions? Happy to hang out as long as you want to ask questions.
Hi, this is Carlos. I'm
Yes.
from Mexico, and I have a bachelor in medicine. I would like to know if a bachelor's in medicine is accepted for a PhD program in biomedical science.
Okay, so, sorry, repeat the question.
I would like to know if a bachelor's in medicine is accepted for a biomedical science PhD.
Oh yeah, I mean MD, we've had a few matriculants with MD degrees that want to do biotechnology, particularly if they are academically oriented towards working in the industry. You know, it's a real reasonable springboard to get that a compressed education in lab-based technology that allows people with medical degrees to transition into medically oriented research and industry. I mean, industry uses, you know, usually hires foreign medical applicants without the MD equivalent to fulfill, you know, clinical trial positions or compliancy FDA application sort of and familiarity with the bench, you know, sort of technical aspects of data analysis is very useful in those contexts. Was it, did that answer your question, Carlos?
Yes, it did. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Does anybody have any questions about the academic program in terms of our requirements? We trim back the requirements, the actual required courses quite a lot. So the main requirements are the biotechnology course that I teach in the fall term, the practicum course, which runs for 2 terms, which is 8 credits. We have a requirement for biostatistics, and we have a requirement for biochemistry. So the sum total of our requirements are 3, 6, 8 is 3 and 6 is 9 and 8 is 17, and another 2 is 19. So there's about 19 required credits, and the rest is all elective. So you can pretty much pick and choose any kind of elective area that you want to sort of get more familiarity with. And kinds of electives people have chosen. There's a lot of students will take neurobiology electives, and there's some electives in addiction that people are interested in that subject area if they want to go into that kind of biology area. Other electives that people choose, some students take histopathology if they want to be in a pathology lab. The other electives might, we do have a lot of informatics electives now for people that are more geared towards bioinformatics in analysis areas. So we have a class in R programming that some students that like that area can take. So there's a wide variety of electives that you can, and then we have several business electives, like the sort of the business end of, how to do I&Ds to apply for, sort of positions for patents or for applications of use in clinical medicine. So. Is that, just let me know when you want to, if you have any more questions. If you are a foreign applicant, a lot of it's political at this point, but the lag time in getting a visa has been 9 months in general. So if you're going to apply and you have a foreign applicant and are a foreign applicant, do it in this term so we can get and we can look at the credentials and accept you, because the Office of the International Studies that does the visas, the backlog is just horrible. Okay. Stephanie, you have any questions? Well, if you don't have any more questions, I would say that we would end it. This is going to be recorded, and then it will go up onto our website so that you can go back and review it at any time. Feel free to look at the website. As I said, if you're going to apply, start early, because we fill our roster out as students come in. As soon as we look at the credentials, if we get the recommendations and all of the pieces of the information together that we can accept you and decide on financial aid, we'll offer the slot, because with us, we really are, we like to fill out the slots as fast as possible so that we can know how many labs we have to get people in the spring. So I'm gonna end it now. I'm gonna stop. So in terms of the requirements are a GPA of 3, sorry, in the sciences, and we do look at that you had an organic chemistry in college. We do not take the GRE, it's optional. You can take it or not take it, we don't look at it. We do have a requirement for 3 reference letters. You have to have those reference letters if you don't use the GRE. And we basically are going to use the reference letters and the GPA as our primary determinant. Prior lab experience is a real plus as well. So those are the sort of the requirements for the program. And because it's so small, Dr. Ravid and I look at every applicant and the personal statements and we follow up on references usually to make sure that they're all there. So, and as I said before, we give out, we pretty much give out scholarships to everybody, ranging in need from $15,000 to $5,000. as well as merit. So we look at students' merit and need to try to make sure that we can provide students with some assistance to do the program. It is pricey. Did that answer your question, Stephanie? Is there any other thing that you missed or you want me to answer? Okay, well, I think that then I don't see any more chat questions or questions from the audience. So we do these, if you think of any other questions, email me. We do these virtual fairs about 2 to 3 times a year. There'll probably be another one late in this term and 2 in spring term. So hopefully, if you apply, I will see you next year if we let you in. And good luck on the fall term at your current place of education. Okay, so have a rest of the afternoon. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a good day.